Well, good morning, ninth grade. Today I am out. I am with my son down at the U of M. We are moving him in. So I have recorded today's lessons for both the students that are in class and doing distant learning. And today's lesson is about the art of emailing and what a professional email should look like. So please watch this video in its entirety, and there's an assignment for you at the end. All right, good luck. So in general, I'm going to go over the different components of what a professional email should look like, the components. We're also going to go over how to navigate Gmail. I'll show you a few things within Gmail on changing the subject. And you're going to know the 4 key components of an email, which is the subject, the greeting, the body, and the closure. Okay, so why is the format important? It's going to, number one, you have to have a professional tone when you are responding or inquiring at school. My attitude is that if I were to write something to Mr. Nona or Mr. Nona were to write back and forth to me, it would be professional. It would not be casual. It would not be left open-ended. I would not be asking him, hey, just blanket information. He's a very busy person. I want to get all my points gathered. I want to do all the research I can. I want to show him that I've cared and done my part before I reach out to him. Now, I realize as teachers, it's definitely our job to be there and assist you along the way, but it's your job as students to use all of the resources that we have given you, which means watching videos, reading directions, going to resources, and even helping one another. But the key thing with emails is, one, you want to make it easy as you can for the recipient of the email, like who you're addressing it to. You want to be professional and thorough and accurate because that shows that you care, and that will impress the person reading the email. So when you're sending an email, again, I'd already talked about these particular parts, and we'll look at more in examples. So who is the recipient is who you address it to. It's the first name dot last name here at school. But just make sure that when you're typing that in, that you're being accurate, because if you make any kind of mistake in addressing an email, it will not go through to the recipient. So details matter. The second thing is the subject line. So the subject line is very important. I'm going to show you, no, I'm not going to show you my email. But when I get emails that just say like question in the subject line, I don't click on those right away because, one, I have no idea what the email is going to be about, and two, the word question is not going to be enough to trigger my memory later when I look at my email. So say you were absent or you have a question on an assignment or the directions were confusing. Whatever the key information is, you want to have that in the subject line. Now, if you downloaded Grammarly, and I know you all did, when you start typing emails, if you start typing the body, Grammarly will sometimes give you a suggestion as to what you should use for the subject line up there at the top. But whatever you do, don't leave the subject line blank, and don't have it can't be a complete sentence, but you want it to be specific enough so when the reader looks at it again later, it makes perfect sense or it gives them an inkling as to what you've written the email about. It's very important that you start the email with a nice greeting. You know, good morning, Miss McMillan. Dear Mr. Bemboom. Good evening. Address it to the teacher first and last name. Just don't write. Sometimes just addressing it with the teacher's name, like Mr. or Miss McMillan, comma. That I think is borderline acceptable. But usually you put like a hello, a good morning, a good day, something to that effect. Now, the bulk of the email, and this is important because you want to have, I think, a minimum of 5 sentences in any good email. 1 or 2 sentences is not enough to show the receiver of the email that you've done your research. So the first part is you kind of inform the person as to why you're writing the email. You know, I'm reaching out to you today because as I try to complete the homework, I'm a little confused on the directions. I've looked here, I've looked there, I've tried to talk to people, and I'm just concerned that I might be missing something. So at this point, here's what I'm deciding to do, and I hope that that's all right. Now, some teachers may, give you a really brief reply, like, yes, that's fine, we can talk about that in class tomorrow. But you want to be professional. You want to show the teacher that you've done your due diligence. Okay? And lastly, and I don't want to say most importantly, but it's a very important thing, is the salutation or the ending, the closure. Sorry, it's not, the salutation is the beginning, so this is the closure. So mine always end, I believe, respectfully, Cindy McMillan, language arts teacher. And I'm going to show you on your own Gmail how you can add your own ending. Okay, so in your Gmail, just go to simply your Gmail, and then you're going to go to your settings. And then in settings, you're going to go see all settings. Give it a second. And what happens is it pulls up all of your information with Gmail. And I want to show you the part where you can kind of alter a few things. So I have 100 emails per page, which is a lot. You may want to switch that. If you've ever wanted to like unsend an email when you send it, you can have this set to 30 seconds, which means if you send an email and you realize you made a mistake, you can quick unsend it before the recipient gets it. This is where you can change the font. I have mine, and it'll kind of preview, so I like the Veranda. It's a little bit different. My text color is a purple, and I believe I made it sort of, I increased my size a bit. But if you want to change your font, please do so. Please make sure it's legible to readers. I would say don't go with red, don't go with yellow, don't go with orange, but I've seen blue, I've seen purple, I've seen black. So the darker the color, the better. I would have your grammar suggestions on. I think they default to on. Spelling, I would have it on, and I think it defaults to that. Autocorrect as well. And this is where I was telling you that you get kind of the suggestions, and it ties in with Grammarly and it ties in with Gmail, but writing suggestions on. This I have turned on to my writing style. I don't know if it defaults to on or off, and I'm not really 100% sure what it does, so I don't have a lot to say on that part. But the one that I wanted to show you, I'm scrolling down. When you get to the signature, my signature is my name with my email and then a quote. So if you want to insert a signature, this is where you do it. So you would hit Create New, you would type it up, and it would kind of give you a preview, and then all of a sudden all your emails will end in that manner, which is a nice thing to do. So all your teachers do it. It's up to you. You don't have to. And the rest, I'm going to leave it alone. Make sure that if you make any changes, that I got to pull this down. So please make sure, though, if any changes you make in this whole screen, you have to save it at the bottom. Okay, so mine didn't come up because I didn't make any changes, but that's where you would save it. And that's just in your Gmail account. So I just want to make sure we cover everything with email etiquette. So I want to make sure that when you professionally and academically address my teacher in an email, again, that's like, Dear Miss McMillan, hello so-and-so, good evening, that you keep your tone professional, and that and what I mean by that is you don't, if you're emailing a coach or somebody who you are sort of friendly with, you don't go into that friendly tone. You keep it professional, even if it's a person you're quite comfortable with. I know which language is and is not appropriate for emailing a teacher. I'm not talking profanity. I don't mean that. I mean things like slang, like gonna, shoulda, I'ma, or even that text speech that some of you folks like to do. And always, always, always have an appropriate yet brief subject line. So these are some things, again, just in a little bit different format. I'm just going to go slowly through that. Please make sure that grammar, punctuation, conventions, that all of those are accurate when sending any email. So now you're going to practice. When you get this assignment, I want you to brainstorm at least 3 instances of when you would email a teacher and or a superior. So if you want to make it a coach, if you want to make it anybody, but make sure a couple of them are teachers. But give me some purposes that you would, some reasons why you would take the time to email a teacher. So I'm looking for at least 3 reasons there, and please use complete sentences. In your own words, how would you properly format an email using the components? You tell me how you would construct an email. And now I have 2 practice emails you're going to be doing. Okay. So this first one, I think you might laugh at, but I get emails like this all the time. So you're going to be revising this particular email, and you're going to have to add some information to it. You're going to have to kind of speculate as to which class it is and what the assignment is. So feel free to embellish, because remember, I want it to be at least 5 sentences or 2 small paragraphs is the guide for an email. And this is about a person getting a 0 on an assignment and questioning it because their parent is not happy with them. You're going to see that the tone is inaccurate, but this is where you're going to do the revised version. Okay, so that's one of the emails that you're going to write for me for today. The second one is I would like you to consider emailing a teacher that you currently have, and think about how you could kind of introduce yourself to that teacher and explain what kind of a student you are. I've received emails where it's been, "Dear Miss McMillan, I am a student in your 10A language arts class, and I'm very excited to be back in language arts. I've heard some nice things about you," or something to that effect. And then, but the person, you can go on to say, I struggle with language arts. I don't like to be called on to read things aloud. I have a lot of anxiety, so I'd rather not be called on unless I raise my hand, but I will raise my hand when I have something to add to your class. Something like emails like that, and that was a really, really shortened version, that tells me as a teacher that, one, you know yourself as a learner and you want to do well in class, and you want to give the teacher all the pieces of information that I could have to help you be successful in my class. So those were sort of negative things that not negative, but concerns. But you could email for a variety of reasons, that you're excited to learn about the content. If ever you need help with anything, that sort of thing. So you're not actually going to send this to a teacher. It's going to be a rough draft or a mock one. But pick any teacher that you currently have and think about some relevant things that would be meaningful to share with that teacher. Okay. And that's it. Nope, I did have... I'm going to take off that last one. I don't need you to email. Sometimes we get emails about when students don't understand an assignment. I'm going to delete that one, so you're just doing the two that I had already shared. So you're going to click on this assignment over here that says Email Etiquette. And I'm going to have a few more directions in there, but you're going to click on this link that says Email Etiquette. It's going to force you to make a copy. You're going to make a copy. And it's just being slow right now. And then now you've got a form where you can edit the same thing that I was just going through. So you'll respond to those questions that I talked about, and then you'll construct your 2 emails. And then you'll upload your assignment to this one, to the one called Email Etiquette. Okay? Good luck today. Make me proud. I will be back on Wednesday, and we're doing MAPS testing on Wednesday. So I don't think I said anything to 9th grade about that. All right. Use your time wisely.